morning, students. Today we are going to start a new topic of chapter Paths to the Modernization. Today we will learn about the Meiji Reformation of Japan. What type of reformation this system had done? Administrative reforms. The Meiji government imposed a new administrative structure by altering old village and domain boundaries to integrate the nation. In 1871, feudalism was abolished under the Meiji rule. Economic reform. Another Meiji reforms was the modernizing of economy. Japan's first railway line between Tokyo and the port of Yokohama was built in 1870 to 72. In 1972, modern banking institutions were launched. Zaibatsu, the business families, dominated the economy. Industrial reforms. Textile machinery was imported from Europe, and foreign technicians were employed to train workers, as well as to teach in universities and schools, and Japanese students were sent abroad. Number of people in manufacturing increased. Over half of those employed in modern factories were women. The size of the factories also began to increase. Agriculture reforms. Funds were raised by levying and agriculture taxes. Constitutional reforms. In 1889, Japan adopted a new constitution. The Meiji Constitution had created a diet and declared emperor as the commander of the forces. It was based on restricted franchises. Educational reform. A new school system began to build from the 1870s. Schooling was compulsory for boys and girls, and by 1910, almost universal tuition fees were minimal. Tokyo University was established in 1877. Now, military reforms. All young men over 20 had to do a period of military service. A modern military force was developed. The military and the bureaucracy were put under the direct command of emperor. Now the next topic is re-emergence of Japan as a global economic power. During the 1930s, Japan exercised imperialistic policy and invaded China to extend its colonial empire. Japan's attempt to carve out a colonial empire ended with its defeat by the Allied forces. However, it was defeated in World War II when US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It resulted in huge destruction of masses. Under the US-led occupation from 1945 to 47, Japan was demilitarized and a new constitution introduced. Japanese philosopher Miyake Sitsu argued that each nation must develop its special talent in the interest of world civilization. The rapid rebuilding of Japanese economy after its shattering defeat was called a post-war miracle. The new institution had Article 9, the so-called no war clauses, that renounces the use of war as an instrument of state policy. Agrarian reforms, the re-establishment of trade unions, and an attempt to dismantle the zaibatsu or large monopoly houses that dominated the Japanese economy were also carried out. Constitution was democratized, political parties were revived, and the first post-war election held in 1946. Suffrage was given to women in the election of 1946. There was close relation between the government, bureaucracy, and industry. Japan also introduced better goods at cheaper rates in the market with its advanced technology. US support as well as the demand created by the Koreans and the Vietnamese wars also helped the Japanese economy. The 1964 Olympic held in Tokyo. It symbolized the maturity of Japan's economy. The introduction of network of high-speed Shinkansen or bullet train started in 1964, which ran at 200 miles per hour, added to its prosperity. In 1960s, several pressure groups protested against industrial pollution. Industrialization was pushed with utter disregard with the growth of civil society movements due to its harmful effect on health and the environment. Government action and new legal regulations helped to improve the conditions. Now we will start about China. China is a vast continental country that spans many climatic zones. The core is dominated by three major river systems: the Yellow River, the Yangtze River, and the third one is the longest river in the world and the Pearl River. A large part of the country is mountainous. There are divergent ethnic groups: Han, Uyghur, Hui, Manchu, and Tibetans. Major languages spoken are Chinese and Cantonese. Chinese food reflects this regional diversity. Southern or Cantonese cuisines include dim sum, an assortment of pastries and dumplings, while in the north wheat is the staple food, while in Sichuan spices have created a fiery cuisine. In eastern China, both rice and wheat are eaten. History of China. The beginning of modern China can be traced to its first encounter with the West in the 16th and the 17th century. During 1839 to 42, British won the First Opium War in China and snatched power from the Qing dynasty. The Second Opium War was fought in 1856 to 60. It revolved around three questions: how to regain sovereignty, end the humiliation of foreign occupation, bring out equality and development. There were three views. Lian Qiao used traditional ideas in new and different way to meet Western challenges. He popularized Chinese nationalism. Republican revolutionaries Sun Yat-sen, inspired by the ideas from the Japan and the West. He was the founder of the modern China and established a republic in 1911-80. The Communist Party of China, CCP, wanted to end age-old inequalities and dispel foreigners. Later, the Kuomintang, the National People Party, along with CCP, strived to unite China. Chiang Kai-shek, leader of Kuomintang, militarized China. Mao Zedong, CCP leader, organized a Soviet or Peasant Council and fought Japanese colonization. When Kuomintang, the National People's Party, intensified attack, the Soviets shifted the base to Yan'an after a long march. The Communist Party captured power and established the People's Republic in 1949. So that's all for today, students. We will continue our chapter in our next lecture. So please read these notes very carefully and read your chapter very carefully. Try to find out your 1-mark question from this chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.